here's Brody Brazil.
For those of you who are regulars here on this YouTube channel, you probably remember what Dodger Stadium looked like for most of the winter months. Right after the World Series, they got to work, and they did a lot of digging on both the home and visiting side of the field. I mean, look at the excavation alone there. This project, the Dodgers said, cost about $100 million. Brand new clubhouse expansions, not only for the home side and the Dodgers, but also all the visiting teams too. We did the estimations here, maybe up to 10,000 square feet, all underground, under the field, under the stands. They had to shave off the dugouts here as part of getting this job done. So this was a monster project that took place pretty much from November through December and January, February. There was some question like, what if this doesn't get done? Or can they actually get all of this ambitious work done? Because the Dodgers went all the way to the World Series and won it. Look at the World Series logos there. Months later, still on the field. They never even bothered to spray them off before doing all of this construction. And so eventually progress is made. You can see this is bound to be done. And as we now know in reverse, and I have to tell all this story, by the way, to get to where we actually stand now and finding out just a little bit more information about toilets in the Dodgers clubhouse. But yeah, they start to get this work done. You can see that via drone shots from John Kay and Vast Sky Media, the field is going back in, the sod is being laid, everything is going to look pristine for opening day, but it's hard to even fathom how much construction was going on here and now how finished and perfect it looks. Again, we'll do a quick before and after. This was the before. This was Dodger Stadium for most of the winter months. And then here's how it looks as they were prepping it for this season. You'd never know. If you didn't watch these videos, you didn't follow this coverage, you went to games last year, you've gone to Dodger games this year, you would never know what's now under the seats on both sides of the field. But it brings us to kind of an issue here. I've yet to see any photos or videos of the Dodgers' brand new clubhouse. This is it. This is the one best photo I could find. It comes to us from a Dodgers' own entity, Dodgers Beat, part of MLB.com. And I think the photographer here, John Suhu, was the only person to capture this image right here. This is all we have, which is kind of crazy. In this day and age, usually you do something like to the tune of $100 million. You do all this work, you do all that construction. You want to show it off if you're the Dodgers. Now, maybe the Dodgers have shown it off to the people that matter most, as in the people who they're trying to recruit to play for the Dodgers. More on that in just a second. But yeah, I mean, it looks cool. It's got the nameplates that are actually LED screens there. The lockers and the stalls look spacious. That's a very cool star effect up in the sky. So look, I imagine this is cutting edge. It's first class. It's fantastic. But this is basically all we've seen. So what's the secret going on down there in the Dodger and visitor clubhouses? Are you guys cloning more Ohtanis down there? Honestly, I tried so hard to just find video or still images, social media, through traditional media, through the Dodgers themselves, and there's just not much to go on out there. There's not a lot of showcasing what exists now under the stands at Dodger Stadium. So we can only go on quotes from somebody like Tyler Glasnow, who, by the way, I saw got injured over the weekend. I haven't received any updates, hope he's doing okay, but this is what he said at the start of the season, quote, "It's insane. It's humongous. It's really crazy. Everything's really nice. All the workers too. I don't know how they did that all so quick. It was so much stuff, and they did it in however many months that was. Honestly, I didn't think it was going to get done, but we walked in and everything was ready to go." And when we say everything, we mean all the bells and whistles. And how about when the Dodgers were trying to acquire Roki Sasaki over the winter months? And remember I said, let me just step back here for a second. Remember when I said that maybe the Dodgers would use these amenities to try and lure in new players? And now we're finding out after the fact that there was something specific that Roki Sasaki kind of casually mentioned that the Dodgers were paying attention to. They put it in here, and I'm not saying that's why he signed with the Dodgers, but check this out. Stan Kasten, the Dodgers president, was being interviewed by the Orange County Register, and here's what Kasten said. "During our first meeting with Roki, we were telling him about the project we had ongoing to upgrade our clubhouse and facilities," so the ones that you saw all winter long here on this YouTube channel. "I was telling him about all the amenities we were adding. We're going to have this, and he asked, 'Are you going to have Japanese-style toilets?' End quote. And I'll stop it right there because on this video, we need to now change directions. We need to talk about Japanese-style toilets. Oh yeah, you've probably seen these before or at least heard about them. I think they're amazing. I've had the opportunity maybe once or twice in my entire life to utilize something like this. It is a treat. Here in North America, we are not doing it like Japan is doing it, and that's a problem for me. This has an auto open and close lid. This is a Toto model, which, by the way, I kind of understand is maybe like the gold standard of Japanese-style toilets with all this automation and the bells and whistles. A heated seat. Like, who wouldn't love that? You get the rear cleanse. You get the warm air dryer. You get the deodorizer. And I just feel awkward going over the features of a Japanese-style toilet because on one hand, right, this is awkward to talk about, but on the other hand, if you're thinking about all of your bathroom usage and your toilet usage, you're like, these would be really nice things to have. A deodorizer, you have the rear cleanse, you also have the front cleanse. There's something called a pre-mist, which I understand mists the bowl so that maybe there's less to do afterwards. There's a self-cleaning wand. And these toilets don't come cheap. Yes, you do have to plug them into wall power. So they truly are an appliance. And I did a little research. I had no idea what they cost. I knew they were in the thousands, but anywhere from what seems to be about $1,200 to $10,000 or more is what you can spend on one of these Japanese-style toilets. Okay, I needed to put all of that in there because part of it was for fun, but part of it is just to make sure we do this video justice and what Rōki Sasaki was actually asking about. So then the media goes back to talk to Rōki about this and say, wait a second, did you really say this? And Rōki said, well, quote, through an interpreter, it sounds like a joke, but for me, it's pretty important. And I understand that. It's a comfort of home. It's something that he was used to all of his young life so far, and he was just wondering, like, hey, if you're doing this project, maybe you'd want to put that in. I mean, look, not only Japanese players would appreciate this, but maybe North American players, players from all across the globe who've never tried this before, maybe they would like this amenity too. And I'll be honest, yeah, I think they would. And so he said about the Dodgers' consideration for just like listening to this and actually doing it, which apparently they did. He said, quote, it was definitely a factor in his decision-making process to go to the Dodgers because they listened. Maybe not necessarily that they did it, but that they actually listened. And Rōki also wanted to point out in this same interview that he was partially joking with Kasten. And I guess the point there is that he wasn't fully joking, like, oh, I wasn't even serious, but he also like wasn't totally serious. He was somewhere in the middle, like, I'm bringing this up kind of as a joke, but I also really want to know, would you do something like this? And so that brings us back to Stan Kasten. And what he told Sasaki after that kind of request or that joke or whatever it was, he says, done. You got it. And then he said on the whole experience here about the toilet request, it was a good idea that we got from a player. Boy, I never thought I'd be doing toilet videos here on YouTube. So let me get to the takeaways here. Let's be very clear. Can't even say this. Let's be very clear. Toilet preference did not help Roki Sasaki make an ultimate final decision on going to the Dodgers. It's not like he said, oh, they've got the best toilets. That's where I'm going to go. Forget the money, forget the contract. Look, playing for the Dodgers and where they're at and Ohtani being there, certainly part of the equation. But there is something to be said about a team not just maybe even doing this, but even listening to the player and a request. And something they put out there is saying, hey, this is not like a make or break deal. It's a $4,000 toilet. I mean, on the bigger scheme of things and what they'll spend on players, that's a drop in the bucket. There is something to be said about listening and setting up a facility, setting up a brand new clubhouse the way that players want it. And also understanding what might be important to players. Now, I know that teams routinely do this. They talk to their front office, they talk to their coaching staff, they talk to their players. They try and architect something very specific, something bespoke to the player experience. What would you all like to have in these amenities, in these facilities? But sometimes when you really listen and you really dig in, and then you actually might think it's crazy, but yeah, we're doing this because 4 or 5 of the players wanted this, and that's enough for us to understand and do it. Investing in your people. I think this is a general takeaway that you could say for a lot of different situations, but it's very applicable here. Investing in your people can sometimes just pay huge dividends. The ones that go to battle, the ones that do the work. Take care of your people and specifically what they want. Don't just think, oh, well, this is what they all want. We'll just, cross our T's, dot our I's, check our boxes and be done. Really go out there and listen. They will appreciate that so much more to be heard and listened to. And so I think for the Dodgers, look, signing Roki Sasaki as they did on this entry-level contract now and getting him on a pretty good steal of a deal if he turns out to be what they think he is, then Toilets made a difference. It didn't help make his final decision, but it made a difference for the Dodgers. And lastly here, my final takeaway for the Dodgers, let's see that clubhouse. Again, let's see clubhouses on both sides. How are media and cameras and social media people in there all the time? And we have yet to really see like a full-scale tour of what exactly did you build down there? Let's see these toilets. Did you get like 8 of them? Like how, is there just one for Roki? What did you do down there? I have no concept. I have no understanding of this because, the Dodgers, for whatever reason, they've not really shared it publicly. And maybe that's still to happen, but certainly they've shared it privately, and it has worked in signing at least partially one free agent. All right, that's the end of this video. Glad you made it here to the final seconds. Thumbs up for that. That greatly helps me, this video, and this channel. And one more thing, go down there and make sure you are already subscribed. Hit that subscribe button so I can definitely see you back here next time.